The Galactic Council chamber stood in silence as the lights dimmed. Thousands of alien delegates sat in their floating chairs, each representing a world, a race or an empire that had once claimed to be civilized. In the center, under the glowing crest of the council, stood one human, Ambassador Elias Ward of Earth. He had been summoned to speak about a new motion. He didn't know yet that this meeting would change the fate of his entire species. The Supreme Speaker, a tall, silver-skinned being named Threxen, lifted his thin hand. "Ambassador Ward," he said in a cold tone, "we have received evidence of unauthorized human activity in restricted sectors. Colonization without council approval. Military buildup beyond agreed limits. Do you have a defense?" Elias stepped forward. His voice was calm but heavy. Humanity has expanded only into unclaimed systems. Every colony is registered. Every weapon we build is for protection, not conquest. A ripple of whispers passed through the chamber. Some delegates nodded slightly, but most looked away. Threxen's black eyes reflected no emotion. "Protection?" he repeated. "From what, Ambassador?" "You are among allies." Elias looked around at the thousands of alien faces. Some of them, he realized, couldn't even meet his eyes. "From the things that hunt in the dark between stars," he said softly. "You all know what's out there. You just pretend it isn't real." The chamber fell silent. It was not a lie. There were threats beyond the mapped space, ancient machines, rogue life forms, pirate empires. Humanity had fought many of them and survived. That survival made others uneasy. Threxen raised his voice again. "The Council has voted," he said. "Effective immediately, humanity's membership in the Galactic Union is revoked. All human colonies and vessels are to withdraw from Council-protected space. All shared technology agreements are nullified." Elias blinked. He couldn't believe it. "You can't be serious," he said. "After everything we've done? We bled for you during the Zenra Wars. We rebuilt the Oralis systems after your fleets failed. We gave you faster engines, medicine, even food production methods. And this is how you repay us?" Threxen leaned forward, his thin lips curling. "You gave because you wished to impress. You fought because it was in your nature. You humans are unpredictable, dangerous. The Council believes your kind cannot be trusted to coexist peacefully." Elias felt anger burning inside him, but he controlled it. "So you fear us," he said quietly. "That's what this is about." The Supreme Speaker didn't reply. He only turned his head away. The silence was answer enough. Elias stood tall. "Then hear this," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You can strip our title, break our treaties, block our trade, but you cannot take away who we are. Humanity doesn't vanish because you say so." Threxen raised a clawed hand. "Remove him," he ordered. Two armored guards stepped forward, their weapons humming with energy. Elias looked at them for a moment, then at the entire council. "You've made a mistake," he said. "A mistake that will echo through every star you rule." Then he walked out on his own, head held high. Outside the chamber, his assistant, Lieutenant Mara Chen, waited. "They did it, didn't they?" she asked in a whisper. Elias nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "It's done. We're out." She clenched her fists. "What happens now?" Elias looked toward the stars visible through the great window of the council hall. "Now," he said, "we go home." Back on Earth, the news spread faster than light. Every colony, every ship, every outpost received the same message. Earth expelled from the Galactic Union. Trade frozen. Borders closed. At first there was outrage. Then there was silence. The kind of silence that comes before a storm. In the United Nations Defense Complex under Geneva, the highest-ranking leaders gathered. Old flags from Earth's nations hung side by side with the blue banner of the now-dissolved galactic membership. The president of Earth, Naomi Esteban, sat across from the generals and scientists. "They've cut us off from everything," she said. "They've frozen our accounts, blocked our colonies, even seized our ships stationed in council space." General Holt spoke next. "We've been preparing for this, quietly for years. We have reserves. We have allies among independent systems. We can adapt." "Adapt?" one senator said angrily. "You don't understand. Without the Council's networks, our colonies will collapse within months." Holt smiled faintly. "If they were unprepared colonies, yes. But humans are never unprepared." Everyone in the room turned to look at him. He tapped a control pad, and a holographic map appeared. Dozens of hidden bases, unknown outposts. and supply routes spreading far beyond what the Council believed humanity owned. Elias Ward entered the room at that moment. "The Council underestimated us," he said. "They think we play by their rules, but humans never waited for permission to survive." President Esteban nodded slowly. "Then we prepare for war?" Elias shook his head. "No, we prepare for betrayal." Across the stars, the Council's fleets began to move. The official message was containment and observation, but the truth was clear. They were preparing to invade. In the Council's private chamber, Threxen met with his closest advisors. "They will not go quietly," said a reptilian officer. "Humans are stubborn." Threxen narrowed his eyes. "Then we will make them disappear. Their colonies, their ships, their worlds, all erased." Another advisor hesitated. "That would make us no better than the ones we condemned." Threxen's tone turned sharp. "You think they will stop at our borders once they rebuild? They must be neutralized before they spread further. It is for the safety of the galaxy." He didn't realize that the humans were already listening. Deep inside a hidden station near the edge of the solar system, a secret intelligence ship, Shadowline, had been intercepting Council transmissions for weeks. The crew watched in silence as Threxen's plans played on the holoscreen. "They're coming for us," Mara Chen said quietly. "Full invasion force. They call it containment, but it's a wipeout plan." Elias Ward, now back in uniform, looked at the map of enemy movements. "They'll hit the colonies first," he said. "Then Earth. They'll try to isolate us before the rest of the galaxy realizes what they're doing." Captain Reyes, commander of the Shadowline, turned to him. "Orders, sir?" Elias stared at the screen for a long moment, then gave a faint, grim smile. "Silence all outgoing channels. No signals. No broadcasts. From this moment on, every human fleet and colony goes dark." Reyes blinked. "Dark, sir?" Elias nodded. "Let them think we're afraid. Let them think we're hiding. Then when they come close enough," he looked out at the stars, "they'll find out what we've been building." Weeks passed. The Council's scouts moved cautiously into human space, sending back strange reports. Empty stations, silent worlds. No resistance. Entire colonies that once held millions seemed abandoned. At first, the Council celebrated. "They're retreating," Threxen said with a smile. "They know they cannot fight us." But then the reports stopped coming, ships vanished. Scouts didn't return. Whole fleets entered the outer human sectors and were never heard from again. Rumors began to spread. Some said humans had built weapons that could bend light, hide entire planets, or trap ships in gravity fields. Others whispered that Earth itself had turned into a fortress. Threxen dismissed them all. "Superstition," he said. "They're just running scared." Still, when the Council fleet reached the Sol system, the admiral leading the operation felt uneasy. He looked at his sensors. Everything appeared quiet. No defense signals, no transmissions. Only the faint blue glow of Earth far away. Then his comms officer said, "Sir, we're receiving a transmission." The admiral frowned. "From who?" The officer swallowed. "From Earth." The image flickered to life across the fleet's monitors. It was Elias Ward. He stood in front of the United Nations flag, calm and composed, as if addressing the entire galaxy. "To the Galactic Council," he said slowly, his voice firm. "You accuse us of aggression. You call us dangerous. You call us unpredictable. And you are right." He paused, letting the silence hang heavy. "We are dangerous to those who betray us. We are unpredictable, because you cannot understand how far we'll go to protect our own. You thought removing us would make you safe. You thought you could erase us quietly." Elias leaned closer to the camera. "You've made your choice. We won't beg. We won't hide. But when we come..." His eyes hardened. "You'd better run." The transmission ended. For a long moment, no one spoke on the alien bridge. Then alarms began to flash. Sensors lit up across the system. Massive energy signatures awakening from the moon, from Mars, from orbiting stations hidden behind artificial shadows. Defense grids came online one after another, synchronized like a living machine. The admiral's voice trembled. They were never unprepared. Back in the council hall, Threxen watched the reports come in. Every fleet, every ship that had entered human space was trapped. The data feeds showed blinding light from orbital arrays, communication blackouts, and total silence afterward. He turned toward his advisors, eyes wide with disbelief. "What have they done?" No one answered. Outside in the darkness of space, the humans were no longer silent. A council fleet drifted in the silence of human space. What was meant to be an easy conquest had become a graveyard. The ships floated lifeless, their hulls torn by invisible forces. No distress calls, no survivors. Only static echoed across the stars. From the bridge of the council's flagship, Supreme Speaker Threxen stared at the chaos. "What happened to them?" he demanded. No one answered. Every sensor scan returned nonsense. Gravity fluctuations, temperature spikes, and energy fields far beyond known limits. The humans had vanished from open space, yet every corner of the Sol system pulsed with hidden power. On the dark side of Earth's moon, the Defense Command Center hummed quietly. Generals, scientists, and soldiers stood before massive screens, showing the alien fleet trapped at the edge of Mars orbit. Commander Holt gave the order. "Engage Project Aegis Phase 2. A deep vibration filled the base. Energy arcs flashed along the moon's surface, connecting to satellites hidden in the asteroid belt. Beams of light lanced silently through space, curving like living threads. Every alien ship caught in the web lost power, its engines frozen by unseen fields. Inside one council ship, the crew screamed as the controls went dark. "We're losing gravity," someone shouted. "Weapons offline. Shields collapsing." A human voice came through their comms. Calm. Cold. "Welcome to Sol." Then silence again. In the capital of the Galactic Council, panic spread. Emergency meetings were called. Hundreds of worlds watched as reports came in. Entire fleets missing, communications with the invasion force broken. No response from any ship. Threxen faced the gathered leaders. "We underestimated them," he said bitterly. They hid their true strength. An avian delegate shouted, "They were primitives! They were supposed to be beneath us." Threxen slammed his clawed hand against the table. "You call them primitive because they smile while preparing for war. You think them weak because they don't boast of their weapons. That is your mistake. They learned from us, and now we will pay for it." A nervous murmur spread through the chamber. "What should we do?" another asked. "We can't fight something we can't even see." Threxen took a slow breath. "We open communication. We beg for peace before they decide to retaliate. On Earth, the skies were calm. Civilians lived their lives under a quiet sky, unaware of the massive defense network operating above them. Humanity had gone completely silent to outsiders, cutting every channel. Only military command centers spoke in coded bursts. The world appeared peaceful, but every city, every colony, every hidden station was ready. Ambassador Elias Ward stood in the orbital command center overlooking Earth. From the window, he could see the glow of the defense satellites and the faint shimmer of the Aegis shield that surrounded the planet. Mara Chen joined him holding a datapad. "They want to talk," she said. "Threxen is requesting a transmission." Elias smiled faintly. "Now they want peace." "He's afraid," she said quietly. Elias turned toward the stars. "Good, he should be." He tapped the console. "Open the channel." The holographic form of Threxen appeared before him. The alien leader's once proud voice trembled slightly. "Ambassador Ward, it seems we were misinformed about human intentions." "Misinformed?" Elias repeated calmly. "You invaded our homes, attacked our ships, cut off our people. You called us dangerous, and now you call it misinformation?" Threxen's voice grew more desperate. "We can negotiate. The Council will restore your status. We can rebuild." Elias cut him off. "You still don't understand. This isn't about status. It's about trust. You broke it." The silence that followed was heavy. Threxen lowered his head. "What will you do?" Elias looked at him, eyes hard. "What do you think we'll do?" The transmission ended before Threxen could reply. Far across human space, the vanished colonies began to reappear. The so-called abandoned outposts revealed themselves as fortresses, entire cities buried underground or hidden beneath oceans. Ships that had seemed lost emerged from deep space, armed with new stealth drives and adaptive weapons. The human fleet, once modest, now appeared infinite. The Council tried to regroup. New fleets were formed, borders fortified, but human vessels were already there, appearing behind enemy lines, disabling power grids, cutting communication arrays, then vanishing again without a shot fired. They didn't conquer. They controlled. Alien citizens woke to find their warships floating powerless, their armies trapped in stasis fields that no one could explain. Panic spread like wildfire. In one sector, an entire mining moon revolted against its council overseers after receiving a single message from an unknown human source. You are free now. No army followed. No occupation came. Just silence. Freedom enforced by fear. Back in Seoul, President Naomi Esteban stood before the Global Council. We are not conquerors, she said. We will not become what they accused us of. But the galaxy must learn a lesson. Never mistake our kindness for weakness. General Holt nodded. Our forces are ready. We can reach any system within hours. We can shut down every council network in a day. Elias stood at the edge of the room listening. When the president turned to him, he said quietly, They already understand. Fear teaches faster than war. Then what do we do? She asked. He looked out the viewport at the shining earth below. We let them run. In the following weeks, a strange calm settled over the galaxy. The once arrogant empires stopped their border patrols. The merchant guilds reopened trade with humans, this time with respect. Messages flooded into Earth asking for forgiveness, for alliances, for understanding. But humanity answered only with silence. The Galactic Council fractured. Worlds began leaving, declaring independence. The name human became a warning and a legend. Children on distant planets whispered about the Deathworlders who smiled as they built wonders and war machines side by side. Threxen watched it all collapse. His empire, his power, his illusion of control gone. He sat in the ruins of the council hall, surrounded by empty seats and shattered symbols. A soft beeping caught his attention. A message. Only 2 words glowed on the screen. Run now. He stared at the words for a long time, then looked out at the stars. Ships were moving fast, silent, and unmistakably human. He felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. True fear. In deep space, the human flagship Resolute glided silently through the void. Elias Ward stood on its bridge watching the stars stretch ahead. Mara Chen approached, her eyes filled with a quiet mix of pride and sorrow. It's over, she said softly. They're not going to fight anymore. Elias nodded slowly. No, they'll remember this instead. She looked at him curiously. Remember what? He smiled faintly. That humanity doesn't seek domination. We seek survival. And when someone tries to take that from us, we remind them who we are. She looked out at the stars. What will we do now? Elias placed his hand on the railing. We rebuild. We protect our people. And if they ever come again? He paused, his voice turning cold as steel. We tell them to run. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Without the Council's rule, smaller alliances formed, peaceful, cautious, and respectful. Humanity became a quiet guardian among them, its fleets unseen but always near. The once feared Threxen lived in exile on a deserted world. He spent his final years studying the rise of humans, trying to understand what made them so different. He found his answer in an ancient Earth proverb. The more you try to cage a human, the more they learn how to break the bars. He smiled sadly before his last breath, whispering the word that had haunted him since that day. Run. Elias Ward retired to Earth, living near the ocean. Sometimes he would sit on the cliffside, watching the stars shimmer above. Children played near him, building small models of ships in the sand. They knew the stories, how the galaxy betrayed humanity, and how humanity answered not with surrender but with a warning that shook the stars. One child, curious, asked him once, Is it true, sir? Did you really tell the whole galaxy to run? Elias looked at the child, then at the sea beyond. The waves reflected the light of the orbiting defense platforms like stars upon water. He smiled gently. No, he said. I just reminded them what happens when you betray the ones who protect you. The child frowned. But why didn't we destroy them? Elias's smile faded into something softer, wiser. Because destruction ends a story. Mercy makes it live forever. He stood and walked away, leaving the child to stare at the horizon where the ocean met the stars.